Greetings all, and welcome back to A Traveler's Guide to. Our examination of the UTO Research Station was nothing short of harrowing and a scary journey for many of us, even if it did really just boil down to simulations almost entirely. But hey, that doesn't change the work that goes into such examinations, and we'll gladly take it over having to deal with any of, well, that in real life. Now, truth be told, we were going to actually follow this up with a simulated examination of planet ZDR, given that X-Parasites ultimately doomed that world as well, but, well, as strange as it may sound, we picked up an odd energy signal near Federation Outpost, or at least what was left of one, that we just had to investigate. After all, we usually can't even get close to them, but this one seems to be out of commission right now, so we were able to get a closer look at it. And that outpost would be the remains of the UTO Research Center on the planet Tanamaar. Seems that it was the recent place of a skirmish between old pirate forces and the Galactic Federation, so it's a good idea for us to take a close look at it and see what sort of data we can find there. Before we dive into the few data entries we can find here from recent times though, let's take a look at the planet and its associated Federation facility and examine a brief history of the most recent events to have transpired there. Tanamaar is a planet located in the Desalon system, a planetary system under the direct control of the Galactic Federation at the moment, but at one time it was a haven for space pirates, and it is a barren, rocky world for the most part, with scarce vegetation like grass only taking root there due to the unintended transport and spread of seeds from visiting Federation troopers and researchers alike. The planet is mostly featureless outside of its mountainous terrain, the result of ancient geologic activity, and this somewhat sterile environment is what made it the perfect place for the Federation to build the UTO Research Center on it. And speaking on that note, the UTO Research Center itself was a Federation research facility monitored and operated through Force 2918 quantum computers based on Talvanian technology and was built to analyze various worlds and other finds within the Desalon system in general, acting as an on-site examination facility for any artifacts found on the planet and its neighbors, a biological examination facility, and a planetary observatory, among other functions. As with other planetary Federation facilities, most of the staff of the UTO Research Center lived on-site for long periods of time, some almost never leaving the place, and in recent times archaeologists present there found a strange alien artifact unlike anything they had ever encountered before. However, not long after the artifact was found, it was discovered that space pirate forces had the facility bugged and had learned of the discovery directly. Now commanded by the bounty hunter Silex, the forces attacked the facility without warning, and although the Federation military was sent in to counter the attack, they were stuck under heavy fire the entire time from orbiting space pirate warships and other crafts. As such, the Hunter was called in to assist the Federation in pushing back against the attack, and she was indeed able to push her way forward past the enemy forces, even killing an Abrax in the process, before being confronted by Silex and his troops directly. Amid the ensuing battle, the ancient artifact was struck with an energy blast, causing it to violently activate and malfunction, teleporting the Hunter, among others, onto the planet Vuros. While she was able to eventually return to Tanamaar safely, everything and everyone else she encountered on the planet didn't make it. Now alone, she would take the memory fruit obtained from the sacred tree in Vuros and plant it on Tanamaar's surface, using the psychic gem that had been given to her shortly after arriving on Vuros to supercharge its growth. Turning into a sapling almost instantly, she would hang the heirloom of a lost comrade on the fledgling tree, the memories of Lemorne and those she had been forced to leave behind being all that was left of her adventure on Vuros. With all of this now established, and putting aside the Federation personnel present on the station, let's examine the unique creatures that made their presence known on Tanamaar during these recent series of events. The Space Pirates are a confederation of many species that have come to work together for the sake of nothing short of galactic conquest, but they are time and time again defeated by the Hunter and the forces of the Galactic Federation. While the mindsets might be the same in most cases, their anatomical forms can differ considerably alongside the types of technology they have available to them. In the case of the space pirates left over from the end of the Zavisians on Zebes and under the control of the bounty hunter Silex as part of the Silex forces, which only existed because Silex found a way to use fusion metroids and other systems to brainwash and control them. These creatures possess a humanoid semi-insectoid body with sharp claws on both their 3-digit hands and feet, humanoid limbs, though they share a talon for an eighth of space pirates, an extra joint in the legs between the knee and the ankle, thick purple skin, and a series of razor-sharp teeth-like projections over their mouth parts that operate much as insect mandibles do. Most of the time this form is partially hidden, however, as these creatures have taken to wearing thick armor plating on their bodies in order to protect their otherwise fragile forms. What makes the species that comprise the Silex forces the most dangerous, however, is their capacity to reproduce at a much faster rate than other species of space pirates, allowing them to multiply and build up armies of rank-and-file soldiers at an extremely quick level, and their strong legs allow them to tirelessly march and leap to great heights without ever breaking a sweat on the battlefield. The sentient aggressors, as they were during a number of skirmishes with the Galactic Federation, the most recent being the attack on the UTO Research Center on Tanamaar, are well trained in both weapon and melee combat and wield both concealed forearm-mounted pulse-on energy blades for close-quarters combat and a quantum assault cannon for long-range assaults. As with their other brethren, these monsters are ruthless and amoral and care little about the cost of their orders, making them dangerous foes to any race to have to face. All that matters to them are results in obeying their leader Silex, and they have made very few friends in turn. Standard space pirates are able to take some amount of punishment and are much more intelligent than most creatures, as they know how to use cover and teamwork in order to take down their targets. Even so, they are still vulnerable to the damaging power of beam and missile-based weapons and can be easily destroyed as long as one fights smartly and not aggressively towards them. While the minds of these entities may be a far cry from their free-thinking predecessors, they nonetheless prove themselves to still be a hell of a scourge towards those to dare to get in their way, with both potent weaponry and even more dangerous ships and other forms of weaponized technology. As such, even if they may have been brainwashed by Silex to some degree or another, they are nonetheless worthy of their title and best belong within threat level Gamma.
Is this really what they have been reduced to here? I cannot state that my brethren here are not just as capable as other space pirate forces in the past. Don't get me wrong there. But even with familiar and even new technology to make them an even bigger force again, none of it really matters to me when it results in them being little more than puppets for a single crazed bounty hunter. There is no sense of resolve, no sense of community or shared interests, no desire or fervor that really drives them to do what they do. No, they don't even have the gumption to override their own insectoid instincts to reach out and be ruthless and aggressive on their own terms. I doubt most of them, if any of them, could probably remember their own damn names at that point. The fall and destruction of Zebus threw all of us for a loop in some way or another, myself more than any other in the crew here perhaps, and I knew even then that there was little chance for the space pirates as a whole to come back from any of this. But I guess that desperation only further made this sect easy to round up and control, when there really was nothing better that they can do. It is for all these reasons that I sadly know that this sect will never have a new crew member here to donate to our cause. And for once, it makes me weep for our kind.
While space pirates and their kind are known to come in a vast array of different shapes, sizes, and species, even among these varied ranks, the Aberrax is still considered to be an especially large species on its base form alone. Despite their massive size, these four-eyed monsters are incredibly capable combatants and are often employed in a command role among the Silex forces, acting as both powerful brutes and intelligent tacticians that can make themselves a serious menace to all but the most well-equipped of soldiers to handle, and even then, it's not an easy fight. The Aberrax's insectoid qualities shine through rather strongly, as their bodies are covered in a thick exoskeleton like beetles, and when combined with the heavy armor and their retractable energy shields they've equipped to their forearms to help block their softer belly and chest areas from harm, it renders them extremely hard to damage with any sort of beam weapon or explosive, and when their low speed and limited capacity to move, even with equipped back thrusters, puts them at a disadvantage, they will make use of their shields frequently and only engage in fairly close quarters combat to rectify this. However, these brutes can be difficult to control, so they are often forced to merge with fusion Metroids in order to make them easier to direct and deploy into an open and active battlefield. This also has the effect of producing up to 4 jelly-like lenses on their bodies that can be used to fire energy bullets at targets when the Abrax can't attack up close with their massive claws. Moreover, they can use the energy that courses through them in this state to generate and then throw energy grenades onto the ground that create powerful energy shockwaves away from them, or they can simply throw the grenade at a target lightly, the projectiles bouncing towards their thrown direction a few times before exploding on contact, or otherwise a short time after being created. They can even use the energy they draw from their combined Metroids to amplify their arm shields to generate sweeping energy walls that either have to be seriously jumped over or rolled under to avoid. However, the organic lenses that form on their body are susceptible to damage from basic weapon systems, and if all exposed lenses are destroyed, the Abrax will become unable to regulate the metabolic energy that fusion Metroids produce, forcing them to release a vast amount of energy from the systems by exposing the fused core in the abdomen that sustains their life in this fused state. While the core can be used as a weapon to charge up energy and release a fast-moving energy shot for defense, it is otherwise also completely vulnerable to attack, and sustained fire to it will eventually kill this primary fusion Metroid in them, killing the Abrax in the process as well. Although the Abrax are easily one of the most dangerous types of space pirates that can be encountered, and more than have a sense of severe menace to them, sacrificing the natural defensive capabilities and the genuine usefulness of the otherwise impenetrable bodies and armor for the sake of control, even if it does leave them vulnerable in a way that they normally would not be, is not something that has seen long-term success in battle against more agile and offensively gifted opponents. As such, it normally would be much more dangerous than a normal space pirate in Silex's forces, but the creation of additional weak points on its body keeps it within the ranks of threat level Gamma.
Well, yeah, freaking ugly. Take a look at this thing. To be honest, it isn't as ugly as Berserker Knights of Lord, so I guess it's got that. But even so, this mofo is a chunky fat ass of a pirate. And I almost want to respect that, truly. It's got hard armor on its body naturally, and the addition of that gilded extra set means that this thing can ram its whole body through a defensive gate and come out the other side still feeling pretty damn good. Brute force may not always be the solution, but damn, if it works, you don't complain. So I have to give remarks on how disappointed I am with this thing. Sure, getting a bunch of fusion Metroids to bond with it does give it access to some potent projectile attacks. They give a bit of oomph to its otherwise basic combat repertoire, and given how slow these things are, being able to attack from afar is borderline mandatory. But those same mutant Metroids themselves are target points that actually make it more vulnerable defensively than it ever should be. I'm okay if the whole process also makes him easier to control. Even my fellow Atreides knew that brute strength and beastly instinct can get the job done if you really cut him loose. So why anyone went to the trouble of making things worse like this is beyond me. Guess it just proves how big the ego of that Silas guy must have been when he didn't understand the best way to use shock troops like this. Just point in a direction and let them deal with the target themselves.
Fusion Metroids are a relatively mysterious type of Metroid that are believed to have been originally designed by the bounty hunter Silex after stealing an infant Metroid from a Galactic Federation research base and then copying and manipulating its genetic structure to create something entirely different and novel. In contrast to the Fission Metroid, the Fusion Metroid is a parasitic variety of Metroid that normally only has a single central nucleus and multiple, differently sized sets of mandibles, but instead of merely being a poor mutated copy like Machtroids, this actually plays into their true design, as the creatures aren't meant to exist and feed on their own. Instead, they instinctually locate large creatures and forcefully use their fangs to burrow their way into the larger creature and essentially fuse with it, becoming one. This not only gives the Fusion Metroid the chance to freely feed on the internal fluids of their host, but in exchange for this, they will offer their own life energy to enhance the power of their host. Moreover, Fusion Metroids are telepathically linked with their original creator, namely Silex, and thus can be used as puppets by the bounty hunter, allowing him to directly override the thought patterns and minds of any creature that is forcefully bonded to these Metroids. While this may seem to be a severe boon for both the host and Silex, there is one major issue that tends to come up with these creatures. When they effectively merge with their host, they tie their lifelines to the host as well, and because their own bodies are not protected from harm, direct damage to their exposed form will cause direct damage to their host, killing them if the bonded fusion Metroid is killed from sustained damage. It is rare for me to really be stumped in any serious way about to really even say about these creatures, as while they are indeed true Metroids, their mutated forms also seemingly make it impossible for them to drain life energy the way they are meant to. Heck, they really can't even defend themselves and rely on their hosts to do that. So while they might be dangerous for their potential to strengthen larger creatures, on their own, Fusion Metroids seemingly pose almost no risk, and thus will be classified as part of Threat Level Alpha.
Alright. For once, I too am conflicted regarding what to even really say about these entities. I regrettably do give Silex credit for making something even we never thought to create. Metroids on their own have always been a nightmare to fight, and need no real major modifications to be a deadly force on their own. So to take them and mutate them into something far weaker and yet potentially more dangerous is a step beyond space pirate thought in retrospect. If you can find a way to pick them off on their own or in a larger beast, then you would get the benefit of killing two Chozo with one stone, since hosts they bond to can't survive once these parasites link to them. The mind control aspect also has a lot of advantages to it, if you're the one pulling the strings, since it seems they can replicate just fine on their own and spread far enough to make themselves a nuisance. And yet, this is all just a step too far for me. These are not Metroids. I don't care if they really are biologically. These mutants betray the very thoughts and purpose of their original creation. The Metroid is the ultimate warrior. That is their name. And that is what it took to nearly eradicate the X-Parasite from existence. Pay it forward to the Chozo and keep them a force to be feared on their own. Not fleshy nubs that only serve to connect the puppeteer's strings to whatever poor sod has become their puppet.
It's a bit unfair for us to really say a lot about this former facility as a place of great danger, as honestly it was generally used more for research than as proving grounds for anything more dangerous or sinister, and was just an unlucky target for the likes of Silex and the space pirates under his control. As such, it's a damn shame to see so many lives impacted, if not destroyed, by their sudden attack, and we thus don't want to give much of a comment here otherwise. Still though, if it hadn't been for the hunter, things could have been much worse. Well, possibly, at least. There isn't exactly a great deal more that we can say on this place at this point, so we apologize if it seems like there wasn't much of a show here. However, this has really been a bit of pretext for something else that we've been working on. You see, while there might not have been much of the original research center for us to fully examine, we did find something extraordinary. To put it simply, Sciency detected some sort of dimensional anomaly on a planet not far from there, and as we investigated it, we found a long-form transmission from some unknown world outside of our view. It took us a while to receive and then translate the entire transmission, but we did it. And in doing so, we found something that proved to be a lot heavier emotionally than we could have ever expected. So the next presentation we have for this part of our series is going to be different in a substantial way. We're actually going to directly head into a Metroid story, and one that Science Team as a whole has agreed is worth speaking on and sharing with you. So for all of you out there, we will soon share the tragic story of Targan, his kind, the Lemorn, and the entire known history of their race and its legacy. Thank you all for watching this video. We here at Space Pirate Science Team take our work very seriously, and we genuinely wish to be as informative as possible when it comes to the work we conduct here, for both ourselves and in the name of science. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us get greater recognition out there to inform the greater populace of the universe as a whole. Also, feel free to keep track of us through Twitter, as we'll be posting notices there every time something new is submitted for your viewing pleasure. We hope to see you all in the next video, no matter what world it may take us to.